Hello everyone, my name is Rosa and this is Yoga by Rosa. This is a Vinyasa balancing class. Please make sure you have a block or a book, steady book with you, and if you can grab it, you can make a little kind of pillow out of a towel or a blanket. We're gonna use that as well. Yeah, just enjoy the practice, listen to yourself and focus on your own practice. And then we're gonna start. Come to sit in a comfortable position. You can sit in Sukhasana, cross-legged pose, or if you prefer, you can sit onto your heels like this. Just arrive on the mat. Maybe you like to close your eyes. And we're gonna breathe in through the nose. And sigh it out through the mouth. Letting go of the day thus far. One more time, breathing in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Arrive on the mat. Now feel where your body is touching the mat, where you're literally grounded. So at the feet, maybe some part of the legs, the sitting bones and the flesh around it. Feel those parts grounded and carried by the mat, by the ground, by the earth. And feel the rest of the body, from the spine, from the tailbone to the rest of the spine to the crown of the head. Lift it up. You can bring your lower belly in. The pelvic floor muscles engage lightly to lift yourself up. So feel the play of opposites here. You feel grounded, the lower body, and lifted up and active at the upper body. Roll the shoulders down and back. Relax your arms, your hands, your face. Today we're gonna balance it out. We're gonna feel grounded and active. We're gonna balance the yin and the yang, the comfortable and the work. If you want, you can start your Ujjayi breath. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, try to breathe in and out through the nose, very deeply with a contraction in the back of the throat. And make the in and exhales equal to each other, in length, but also in strength. And maybe you need to sigh a little bit longer sometimes to get more relaxed into the pose. That's also totally fine. Just try to breathe in and out through the nose. And whenever you need to, you can always sigh it out through the mouth. So there's no right or wrong. Just make that Ujjayi breath through the nose the basis. And whenever you need to sigh or breathe out longer, you can do so. your hands in front of your sternum in prayer position, Anjali Mudra. And now I always ask of you to think of your own intention. And try now to think of something that keeps you in balance in life. A drishti, a focus point, which you can always come back to. That is your intention today. For this practice, or maybe for the day, the week. Bring your hands in front of your forehead. And then bring your hands alongside the body, and we're gonna come onto hands and knees. Coming onto tabletop. Gonna put my hair in a tail. So come into a tabletop, bringing your wrists underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. And then with an inhale, you bring the tailbone up, your belly goes down, and look up. Make sure your fingers are widespread. With an exhale, you bring the tailbone down, belly goes in, and look in. Inhale, tailbone up, belly goes down, look up. Exhale, tailbone down, belly goes in, and look to the navel. Inhale, tailbone up, belly goes down, look up. Exhale, round the back into a cat pose. One more time, inhale. And exhale. And come to a neutral position for the spine. And bring the toes under, bring your hips towards your heels. Walk your hands a little bit more forward. So you really come with those hips on the heels. You can bring your forehead onto the mat. Child's pose with a toe stretch. And then with your next inhale, look forward, come forward onto the belly. Plant your toes flat. With an inhale, come up. Cobra. Exhale, toes under, hips towards heels. Inhale, come forward, Cobra. Bring your shoulders backwards, open up your heart. Exhale to a child's pose, toes under. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, go back. Inhale, forward. One more time, exhale, toes under, stretch those feet. And inhale. And come into a tabletop position again. Make sure your wrists are underneath your shoulders. Your knees are underneath your hips. And stretch your right arm out. Toes, fingers wide spread. And bend the left elbow and bring your forehead to the mat. Inhale, come up to a tabletop. Bring your left arm out. And then exhale, bend the right elbow. Bring your forehead onto the mat. Inhale to a tabletop. Doing both sides once more. Exhale. Inhale, come up. And exhale. Maybe feel nice stretching those arms. Then when you're in tabletop again, bring your knees as wide as the mat and the big toes touch in the middle of the mat. Hips towards heels. Hands walk forward, bring your forehead onto the mat. Child's pose, Balasana. So whenever you feel tired or lost during the practice, you can always come back to this pose. Now everybody come to a tabletop again. Make sure your knees are underneath your hips and your feet are hip distance apart. And bring your toes under, bring your hips towards your heels. Then press the balls of the feet into the mat. Bring your knees off of the mat. And then come into your first downward facing dog. Pedal the feet out by bending one knee and then the other. Maybe you shake your head, yes and no. Do whatever feels good in this first downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look to the front of the mat and walk your feet towards your hands. Bring your feet hip distance apart and grab the opposite elbow into a ragdoll pose. Maybe you like to sway side to side. And let go of the elbows. You can keep the feet hip distance apart, or if you prefer, you can bring the big toes together in the middle of the mat and your heels slightly apart. Plant your feet. With an inhale, bring the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. With your next inhale, bring your arms up, interlace the fingers except the index finger. And then with an exhale, side bend. Bring your hips towards the other side. Inhale, center. Exhale, other side. Inhale, center. Exhale, bend the elbows and open up your heart. Bring your heart forward. Inhale to the center, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Bringing the hands into the shins or onto the mat. Exhale, plant the palms and bring your right foot back and then your left foot back into a plank pose. Fingers wide spread. Shoulders away from the ears. Your belly is engaged. And your heels are reaching backwards. Taking 1 or 2 more breaths. Make sure your hips are not up here, but you're really like a plank. And bring your knees onto the mat. Exhale all the way down. Toes flat. Inhale, come up with your chest, cobra. Toes under, exhale. Downward facing dog. So if you feel you're overextending the elbows, you can always bend your elbows a little bit. If you feel your shoulders are already tight, try to outer rotate the upper arms. You can shake your head, yes and no. Belly is in and up. Then bend the knees, look to the front of the mat and step, or maybe you like to jump this time towards your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, foot forward. Now bend the knees deeply. Make sure you can touch the mat with your fingertips. Inhale, bring the arms up. Utkatasana, chair pose. As if you are in a chair. Look down. See if you can see your toes. See if your knees are in one line. Belly in. Shoulders relaxed. See if you can see it a little bit deeper. Exhale, straighten the legs, hands in front of your heart. Bend the knees again. Touch the mat with your fingertips, arms up. Exhale, straighten the legs, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, bring your left foot back and then your right foot back into a plank pose. With your next exhale, you're coming all the way down, keeping your knees up, pointing your elbows backwards. Toes flat, inhale, cobra. Maybe come up a little bit higher. Toes under. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your right leg up. Exhale, plant your right foot next to your right thumb. Reach that left heel away from you. Inhale, high lunge, come up. Stay here for a couple of breaths. Check your posture. Your left heel is reaching backwards. Your right knee is right on top of the right ankle. Tailbone down, shoulders. relaxed. With an inhale, you reach up your arms. With an exhale, you bend the elbows and open up that heart, bringing your heart forward. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, plant the palms into a plank pose. Inhale here. With an exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your left leg up. Exhale, plant your left foot next to your left thumb. Right heel reaches backwards. Inhale. Vinyasa, high lunge. Feel going down. Feel that nice stretch in the legs. Face relaxed. Maybe you think of that drishti, that focus point that keeps you in balance in life. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend the elbows, open up your heart. Inhale, arms to the center. Exhale, plant your palms. Come back to a plank pose. Inhale and plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. So you can always make little adjustments in downward facing dog if you need to. Doesn't have to be super static. And maybe you can try first to bend your knees deeply, then bring your hips up high and towards the back. And if you have that, okay, if you have that straight like you want it, then you can try to straighten the legs, bring your heels towards the mat. Bend the knees deeply, look to the front of the mat and step or jump. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees deeply again, arms up, Utkatasana. Exhale, straighten the legs, hands in front of the heart. Inhale, bend the knees, Utkatasana. Exhale, downward facing dog. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, right foot back, and then your left foot back into a plank pose. This time we keep the knees up, and with an exhale, we're coming halfway down. Halfway down, roll over the toes, inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring that right leg up. Exhale, plant your right foot next to your right thumb. Inhale, come up for a high lunge. Exhale, plant the palms. Come back into a plank pose. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your left leg up. Exhale, plant your left foot next to your left thumb. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, bring the hands down. Come into a plank pose. Inhale in here. Exhale, downward facing dog. Catch your breath. Then with your next inhale, bring your right leg up again. Exhale, plant your right foot next to your right thumb. Bring your left knee down, toes flat. Inhale, bring those arms up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Inhale here. And with an exhale, you twist towards the right. Bring your left elbow on your right upper thigh. Really twist from the belly. Looking forward or up or down, whatever feels good for your neck. Now maybe see if you can bring the left toes under and bring that left knee up, reaching the left heel away from you. Strong legs. Then everyone with an inhale come into a high lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Your left foot is flat onto the mat, parallel to the short edge of the mat. Right knee is on top of the right ankle. Look over those fingertips. See your focus point, see your drishti, see your balancing points. Relax the shoulders. And then straighten the right leg and bring all the toes towards the long edge of the mat. I will turn around to face you. So your legs are right, your toes are a little bit more in and your heels are a little bit more out. Bring your hands onto your hips. Inhale, lengthen the spine from the tailbone to the neck. And then with an exhale, you fold forward from the hips. Placing your hands onto the mat or maybe onto blocks or books. Make sure your spine is still long, your back is not rounded. You can always bend your knees a little bit so you don't overstretch the knees. And now just breathe into it. And maybe with every inhale you lengthen a little bit more. And with every exhale you fold in a little bit deeper. And we'll come onto your fingertips. And then with an exhale, you bring your hands onto your hips. And with an inhale, you're coming all the way up. So we were like this. Bringing the right toes forward again. Straighten both legs. Bring your arms out horizontal. Then stretch your right arm to the front until you cannot reach anymore. And then with an exhale, bring your right arm down, left arm up. Spread the fingers wide. Use a little bit of your core to keep yourself up. Opening everything. Maybe if you want, you can bring your right arm up and your left arm overhead. Use a little bit more of your core. And then let go, bring your right palm up. And reach it backwards. Reverse. Maybe you like to roll your right wrist one way and the other way. And come to a warrior two. Windmill the arms forwards. Right foot back into a plank pose. Inhale and plank. Exhale, bringing your knees onto the mat or off of the mat. You can choose if you want to come all the way or halfway down. Inhale, roll over the toes for your back bends. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your left leg up. Exhale, plant your left foot next to your left thumb. Bring your right knee down, toes flat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Inhale. And then with an exhale, you twist towards the left. Bring your right elbow on your left upper thigh. So if you want to go further, bring your right toes under and bring that right knee off of the mat, reaching your right heel away from you. Breathing deeply into the twist. Then with an inhale, everybody come into a high lunge. Exhale, warrior two. So your back foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat right now. I stepped it a little bit more in so that my heels are in one line. tailbone down. Relax the face, smile maybe to yourself. And straighten that left leg, bringing all the toes to the long side of the mat again. Your toes a little bit more in and your heels a little bit more out. We're doing the same thing. Bring your hands onto your hips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold forward from the hips. Bring your hands onto the mat or onto blocks or books. And fold forward. So if your head is touching the mat and headstand is part of your practice, you can always play with it, try it. I will not explain it because my head is not touching the mat, unfortunately. So I have no idea how to do it from here. But that's okay, I'm fine with it. You cannot be flexible in every way. And slowly come down if you are in a headstand. And everybody come into your fingertips. Bring your hands onto your hips. Inhale, coming all the way up. Bringing your left toes forward. Straighten both legs. Arms horizontal. Bring your left arm forward until you cannot reach anymore. Exhale, left arm down, right arm up. Spread the fingers wide. You can look wherever feels good for your neck. If you want a little bit more core work, bring your left arm up, palm facing up, and your right arm overhead. Yes, I feel that directly. And then come up. Bring your left palm up, reach it backwards, reverse. Maybe you roll the left wrist towards one side and then the other side. Come into a warrior two. Windle the arms forward and inhale into a plank. Exhale, make your vinyasa all the way or halfway down. Inhale, roll over the toes, back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing deeply in and out through the nose. And then bend the knees deeply. Look to the front of the mat and step or jump towards your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, foot forward. Inhale, reaching your arms all the way up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. You can close your eyes in mountain pose. Check your posture again. Making sure the toes are wide spread. The feet are active. So you lift yourself up. Maybe there's a slight bend in the knee so you don't overstretch your knee. Tailbone is down, belly in, shoulders relaxed. Face in a smile, or just relax. Crown of the head is reaching towards the sky. Breathing deeply. Now we're going into our balancing series. Make sure your body is stable, your breathing is proper, and maybe you can look at something in front of you which is not moving. Thinking of that thing that keeps you in balance in life. And bring your right knee towards your chest. Bring your right foot, you can bring your right foot onto the mat, and then with your right heel towards your leg. You can bring your right foot a little bit more higher, below the knee, or you can bring it above the knee. Never on the knee. So below or above. Bring the right knee to the right. You can bring your hands in front of your heart. Tree pose. And if you feel stable, you can bring your hands up to the sky, keeping your hands together or apart, whatever feels good for you. Maybe you wobble. Keep your core engaged. And bring your right knee towards your chest again. Now reach that right heel backwards. Reach that right heel backwards, flex the right foot, bringing your hands in front of your heart, to the back or to the front, whatever you want. Warrior 3. Both legs super engaged. And then to come out, you try to very lightly step towards the back into Vinyasa high lunge. Exhale, warrior 2. Bringing your right hand onto your right hip. So for this thing you may need a block. A lot of people do, because most of us have shorter torsos than we have legs. So longer legs than we have torsos. And then you can bring your left hand towards the left corner of the mat, or maybe onto that block. Bring your right heel up, right foot up, flex the right foot backwards, open your chest and your hips towards the long side of the mat. And then if you feel stable, you can bring your right arm up. Spread the fingers wide. And maybe you can even look up. And then breathe. One more deep breath. Bring your right hand onto your right hip, bend the left knee, and try to very lightly step into that warrior 2 again. Windmill the arms forward, plant the hands, come into a plank pose. With your next exhale, all the way or halfway down. Inner cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Stretch yourself out. And bend your knees again. Look to the front of the mat. Step or jump. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, foot forward. Inhale, arms all the way up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. We're going to do that onto the other side. Feel yourself grounded again. Think of that posture. Think of your breathing. Maybe you look at one point which is not moving, thinking about that intention. Bring the weight onto the right leg, bringing your left foot onto the ankle, onto underneath the knee or above the knee. in the inner upper thigh. Bringing your hands in front of your heart. And then if you feel stable, you can bring your arms up. Silence focused. Bring your left knee towards your chest and reach that left foot away from you backwards. Flex the left foot. Hands can come in front of the heart or reach them backwards or forward or sideways. Whatever feels good for you. Try to stay focused. Look at that point. And then try to very lightly step the left foot backwards into Anjaneyasana. Exhale, warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Then bring your left hand onto your left hip. Maybe you can bring that block to the right side of the mat right now. Then bring your hand onto the mat or onto that block. Bring your left foot from the mat. Left heel reaches backwards. Flex the foot, bring your whole body to the long edge of the mat. And if you feel stable, you can bring your left arm up. And if you still feel stable, you can maybe look up. And bend that right knee, left hand onto the left hip. Try to very lightly step into warrior two. And windmill the arms forward. Plank pose. Vinyasa. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Downward facing dog. I think this is the last downward facing dog of the class. Enjoy. Then with an inhale, come into a plank pose. And exhale, coming all the way down to the belly. Bringing your elbows underneath your shoulders. Your hands are to the front with the fingers wide spread. Sphinx pose, reaching the chest forward. Make sure you're also using your core with this pose to protect your lower back. If you want to go a little bit further, you can plant the palms and bring the elbows up. Breathing. Bring your elbows down. You can leave your hands over here, or maybe you prefer to interlace the fingers in the middle. And then we come onto the toes, bringing your knees off of the mat and walk your feet forward as if you are going into a downward facing dog, but then on your forearms, reaching your hips up and back. Maybe you shake your head, yes and no. Maybe you pedal the feet, also here, out. Come to stillness for one breath. Then walk your feet backwards again. Bring your belly onto the mat. Bring your chest onto the mat, your arms alongside the body with the palms facing up. And then rest one cheek onto the mat. And bring your forehead onto the mat again. Bringing your arms into a cactus shape. So your elbows are in line with your shoulders, your palms are facing down. With an inhale, you're coming up with the chest and your feet. Bringing the pubic bone into the mat. Exhale, come down. Inhale up. Exhale, come down. Inhale one more time. Come up and stay up. Maybe you reach the fingertips backwards. Reach the toes and the fingertips backwards, the crown of the head forwards. Inhale, maybe come up a little bit higher. And then with an exhale, let go. Bringing the other cheek onto the mat. Maybe you wiggle the hips from left to right. And then bring your forehead onto the mat again. Bringing your hands underneath your shoulders and come into hands and knees. Come to sit onto your sitting bones. Reaching the legs out in front of you. Maybe you remove the flesh from your buttocks. So your legs are out in front of you, toes are up, so your feet are flexed. Plant the hands next to your hips. So maybe that means your elbows are a little bit bent if you have long arms. Sit upright. Focus. Dandasana, staff pose. And let go. And bring the right knee towards your chest. Your right knee away from you. And the right foot in the inner upper thigh like you did in tree pose. With an inhale, you bring the arms up. Move over to your left leg. With an exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, lengthen again. Exhale, fold forwards. It's really important that your spine is long and your back is straight in this pose. So if that means you need to bend your knee or you are more up high, it's totally fine. You will get there by just breathing, lengthening and folding. Your next inhale, you walk your hands up, bring your right knee into the chest, right leg out, left knee into the chest, left knee towards the left, right foot is flexed. Inhale, bring your arms up, move over to the right leg, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen from the tailbone through the spine to the crown of the head. Exhale. Fold in a little bit deeper. Inhale, walk your hands up, bring your left knee into the chest. Both legs are out in front of you again. Feet are flexed. With an inhale, you bring the arms up. I always like to bend my knees first. And then with an exhale, fold forward. And then with every inhale, I'm lengthening my legs more. And with every exhale, I come in a little bit deeper. Like minimum deepening, but I feel it. That's what we do it for. And with an inhale, walk your hands up and come to sit onto the front of the mat. Bring your arms out in front of you with an exhale while using your core, controlling your way back onto your back. Bringing your feet up high, more higher, making sure that you can touch the heels with the fingertips. Then with an inhale, you bring the hips up. And if you can roll the shoulders under, interlace the fingers, plant the feet into the mat, bringing the hips up high, making sure the knees are staying in line with the hips. Also here you engage the core to protect your back. Inhale, come up a little bit higher. And then exhale, let go of the fingers, roll your shoulders back, coming slowly onto the mat. Stay here for a couple of breaths in a neutral position for the spine. And you can bring your knees into the chest, roll your lower back onto the mat, massaging the sacrum and the lower back. And then roll the other way around. Come to the center, place your feet onto the mat. So next thing, we're coming into a shoulder stand. If this is not part of your practice, you can come into Viparita Karani. And for this, you need that cushion. You can also do with a book or a block, but that's also always a little bit hard. You can come to lay onto your back and then bring that book or that blanket underneath your sacrum, so that lowest part of your spine. And then bring the legs up high. Bringing your arms wide, palms facing up. You can flex the flex the feet, bringing the toes towards you. So you do this. For the people who want to come into a shoulder stand, bring your knees into the chest, rocking yourself up, and bring the hands onto your lower back. Making sure you are really onto your shoulders and not into your neck. You're not leaning into your neck. You're using your shoulders to stand on. That's why it's called shoulder stand. Pointing the toes. Maybe you even flex the toes. So you float the feet so that both sides of the legs are active. Breathe deeply. And very slowly to come out, bend your knees, bring your knees into the chest. And very slowly come to lie onto your back. Reaching the legs out, pointing the feet, Then come to lean onto your elbows. Bring your lower arms onto the mat. Oh, I'm so sorry. Just come to lean onto your elbows and then bring the crown of the head into the mat. For fish pose, Matsyenasana, as a counter pose for shoulder stand. Open up your neck. And then bring the back of the head onto the mat again and your whole body onto that mat. Bring one more time into this pose, just laying onto your back. Going to slow down, bend the knees, bring that right ankle onto your left upper leg. You can stay here, bringing that right knee away from you, or you bring the left knee in towards your chest. Wrap the fingers underneath the left knee. And while you bring that left knee towards you, you bring that right knee away from you. Flexing the right foot. Bring your left foot down, bring your right leg up and plant your right foot. Bring your left leg up, bring your left ankle into that right upper thigh. And you can stay here, bring the left knee away from you, or bring your right knee towards your chest. Bring your right knee towards you while you bring that left knee away from you. Flexing the left foot. And then bring your right foot down onto the mat, straighten your left leg. Bring your arms wide into a T shape, palms facing up, or if you don't have any space, you can always bend your elbows. And bring your knees into the chest, and with an exhale, you bring the knees towards the right. Maybe you look to the left, making sure that both shoulders are onto the mat. And if this is not the case, you can always bring something underneath your knees. Bring your head to the center, your knees to the center. And then with an exhale, bring your knees towards the left. Maybe you look over to the right, making sure both shoulders are into the mat. Otherwise, bring something underneath the knees. And then with your next inhale, bring your head and your knees to the center. So if you've done Viparita Karani, you can do Happy Baby right now, bringing the knees wide, the soles of the feet towards the sky, and grab the outer edges of the feet with your hands. If you've done shoulder stand with me, you can come into Viparita Karani right now, bringing something underneath the lower back, so at the sacrum. Bringing your legs up high. Flex both feet and bring the arms wide, palms facing up. So if your knees are bent, it's totally fine. Try to feel the comfort in this pose. The comfort and the activeness. The yin and the yang. The balance. So if you're doing this pose in bed at night, it will improve your sleep. You can do this in bed, bringing your legs up to the wall. Bring the knees into the chest again, plant the feet, bring your hips up. Relief, bring that blanket away from you and bring your hips onto the mat. So if you want to do another pose before we go into Shavasana, please do so. Otherwise, just come to lay onto your back, straighten the legs, toes fall out to the side, arms alongside the body with the palms facing up. So, come into Shavasana, I will lead you out of it, so no worries about the time. Letting go of any control, breathing or tension. This is the time for you where you don't have to do anything. So to come out of Shavasana, you can bring some movements back into your body. Maybe you like to wiggle the fingers and the toes, roll the ankles and the wrists. Maybe you like to sway your head from side to side. Stretch yourself all the way out. And bring your knees into the chest. And roll yourself over to the right side. Very gently come to sit. Come to sit into that seating position you started the practice. You can bring your hands in front of your sternum in prayer position. Being thankful for this day and for yourself. And remember one more time your intention, your thing that keeps you in balance. Bring your hands in front of your forehead. And I would like to thank you very much. Namaste. So thanks everyone. The sun is shining through my window. I hope it wasn't disturbing into the practice. Well, thank you very much. If you have any feedback or questions, I would love to hear it. If you liked it, please like it and maybe subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. See you next time. Ciao.